What do we got here? We have a vintage, mint condition, H&M white King 3B trombone. So let's open up this bad boy. Let's see what's inside here. Alright. Woo-wee! Look at that. Check out this. This thing is from the early 60s, and look at how amazing condition it is. So we're going to have a good time doing a play test on this bad boy. What's up, my dear friends of the world? Paul the Trombonist here, and I'm really excited about this video. This is a video that I saw people commenting that they requested. Right here, we have a very special instrument. This is a vintage H&M white King trombone from the early 60s. Now, I don't know what the story is, but it looks like this thing was sitting in someone's closet for years because it looks brand new. It looks in better condition than even new ones today. All right, so this is what we're going to do today. We're going to talk a little bit about this, and then we're going to do a play test. And if you're new here, my name's Paul. I love the trombone. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel if you love the trombone as well. All right, so check it out. Now, I thought it would be very informative if we kind of go over the history of the King instruments. So, King trombones, they were started by H.N. White in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And H.N. White was a instrument repairman and an engraver. So that's why the early Kings had a lot of engraving on them, because H.N. White was an engraver as well. And he did most of the trombones up till I think 1930. Don't quote me on that, but I think so. And what was interesting about this story is there's a trombone player named Thomas King in Cleveland, Ohio, and H.N. White designed a trombone for him. Word started to get out there, and a trombonist named Al Pinard, who was the trombone soloist for the Arthur Pryor band, was obsessed with that trombone, and he started to play it. Now, keep in mind, Arthur Pryor was the most famous band at that time. So one of the popular soloists of the most famous band was raving about a specific instrument, and then that's kind of how the name started to get out there. Now, what's really interesting is you got to keep in mind, the slides back in that time period, they were probably like sandpaper. They were not smooth like today. So H.N. White was one of the first to develop a slide that was super smooth, and that's what he was known for. Okay. Then from there, the word started to get out there, and a lot of jazz legends started to play his trombones, like Tommy Dorsey and J.J. Johnson and whatnot. So this is a very iconic instrument, and the reason it's iconic is because of how many people played it. And it is the best-selling jazz trombone that's ever existed, the King 3B. So let's talk about some of the people that played 3B. So I made some notes on who played this thing. All right, so some of the people you may know that played the King 3B: J.J. Johnson, of course, Kai Winding, Al Gray, Hal Crook, Vic Dickinson, Melba Liston, Julian Priester, Ed Neumeister, I think he plays a Silver Sonic version, Dwayne Benjamin, Jimmy Cleveland, Phil Rainland, Albert Mangelsdorf, I think he plays Silver Sonic, or he played Silver Sonic, Dan Reagan, Silver Sonic, Benny Green, Wycliffe Gordon used to play him, Tommy Turk, Joe Tricky Sam Nanton, Harold Betters, and Gretchen Moncur III. Those are just the ones off the top of my mind. I'm sure there's so many. So if I left anyone out, please put it down below in the comments. So yeah, it's interesting too. You know, what's interesting about, I started to think about this the other day. It's interesting how a certain instrument can influence the sound of a certain style of music. So as people started to play the 3B, I noticed if you just check out all those names, there's a certain quality of the vibe of the music recorded with this particular instrument. Sometimes, and I don't think people talk about it enough, instruments influence, like the certain type of instrument influences the sound of the music. And the 3B has a very specific sound that I noticed that feels like that vibe, that era. I also wanted to talk a little bit about this. So H.N. White passed away, I think in like 1940. His wife took over the company, and she was the first female executive of a music company. She catapulted the business. She secured a contract with the government for World War II to manufacture the instruments for the military, which was a huge accomplishment.
and she grew the business to crazy numbers. And then they sold the business in 1965, I believe, to King Musical Instruments, and then it went to Kahn and Selmer, and I think in the 80s. And the instruments changed a little bit. One thing they did in a certain time period after it was sold was they changed the counterweight, which I thought was a weird idea, but it looks like they finally brought it back. It would be interesting to see how this vintage instrument compares to the new instruments. I haven't played the new ones. I thought a little bit of history may kind of give a little more dimension to the play test. Okay. Oh gosh, we have fun here, don't we? Okay, cool. So we're going to do a play test, and then let me know your thoughts about everything, okay? All right, so we're on this camera now for the play test, okay? Let's do it. Here are my thoughts. Let me know what you think about the sound down below. So this is what I notice about the King 3B. So this is an interesting instrument. You have to take time to learn how to play it. It plays different than any other horn. So it has a different blow. So you almost have to approach this instrument differently than other trombones. It's very interesting. A lot of the times when I play certain trombones, it just feels like a good fit right away. This one, you got to learn how to play it. The blow is completely different. It's very hard to explain, but you have to push air down a certain way for the partials to ring. And it's an interesting feel. But when you do get them to ring, it's really a beautiful, pleasant sound, right? This instrument is very unforgiving. If you buzz a note not correctly in your chops, it's not going to resonate on the instrument. And it's going to crack. That's what I noticed. Very interesting. A lot of my other instruments are very responsive. This one is not as responsive. I don't know if that's the bore size or whatever, but it has a very unique way, and the lower register has a unique feel too as well. It's got that sound though. You know, if you learn to play this instrument, it's got that sound. It's got that King 3B sound that is such an icon for some of our favorite records in the trombone history and some of our favorite players. But this slide's still getting broken in. It is a perfect slide. It's from the early 60s and it's still getting worked in like a brand new instrument. So that's fun. Let's take a look at it. You see that? These are the ones. The H in white era is the era people seek out. I would be very interested to compare this King 3B to the ones after 1965, and then also to the Conn-Selmer versions. And then it'd be very interesting to see the differences along the history. This is a good one. This is the best King 3B I've ever played. So that's it, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know what videos you would like to see, what other reviews you'd like to see, and I appreciate you all so much. If you dig the trombone as much as me, don't forget to hit like for the algorithm, comment, and most importantly, subscribe so you don't miss any videos in the future. So that's the wonderful King 3B. What do you guys think of it? Look at that thing. Gorgeous. Flawless instrument. Time capsule. Sitting in someone's closet for so long. What a cool instrument. All right, Paul the Trombonist, signing off.